So when it comes to posting content, it should really come from a place of here's problem, solution, outcome, rather than here's our amazing show reel with clients. Like, because nobody cares. Like, you care. It's great looking stuff. That's awesome. But how does what you do serve the outcome that they need?
Hi, and welcome to the Your Story Studios podcast, a podcast where we talk about all things content creation. And today on the show, I'm joined by Matt, and today we're going to be talking about creating content to attract the right clients. Matt, how do we do that?
It's one of my favorite things to talk about because as we all know, content is king, right? We, as videographers, as production companies, we make content for other people. We're so bad at doing it for ourselves a large majority of the time. I really think it's about creating content that resonates with your audience and who you serve in a way that polarizes them. And what I mean by that is if you can push people away or repel the wrong clients and attract the right clients with the content you put out there, the conversations you will have off the back of it are going to be far richer and much more aligned with what you can do and who you can serve. And it's honestly, it's one of the biggest ways we get any new business at our company is through posting and creating content.
Yeah. And then if you're getting the right clients, you don't have to be sending through quotes and then get ghosted.
Yeah. You kind of become the prize at the end of it, which is sort of a strange way to think about it. But if all of a sudden people see a bunch of the stuff you put out, it's consistent in terms of the tone, the style, the approach, all of that sort of stuff. And then somebody goes, I've got a project that I think will fit that. There's not going to be that kind of little dance of like, well, we do it this way, you do it that way. Like, how do we fit together? They already know you theoretically. So once you just have the conversation about budget, as long as that's aligned, it should be a pretty good partnership because they already know, like, and trust you based on what you've put out there. It also means that you're not wasting your time with people going, I need a video. And you're like, well, this is what we do. And they go, oh, that's not right. And you know, all of that time suck in somebody that's never going to go anywhere anyway. So I'm a huge fan of posting content, particularly on LinkedIn, but also YouTube and other social platforms as well. But the big ones for us is LinkedIn and YouTube, which is, you know, it's worked really well for us.
Yeah, great. So when people hear LinkedIn, that polarizes people. I think some people love LinkedIn, they see the value in it, and other people think, oh, that's kind of boring, or the people that I want to get in front of won't be there. What's been your experience with LinkedIn?
Yeah, so LinkedIn is it has a lot of stigma attached to it in that it used to be like the update your resume, hey, I got a new job, hey, I'm looking for a job, and that's it. It's really evolved to be the cool place where cool business people hang out. But it's much more a business relationship platform, social media platform, right? I often think of it as like the opportunity to sell and talk about what you do without any fear of people going like, oh, just you know, a bit up yourself, you bit whatever. Like, people are on there designed to have business conversations. So
that's why they're there. They're on LinkedIn to do business. If they're on Instagram, they might be just scrolling there for cat memes or whatever. Exactly. But on LinkedIn, you're there for business.
Exactly, yeah. And it's the only place that you can directly search and target specific, you know, job title, experience, organization size, geographic location, and like create a list of people that you can reach out to that for the most part should fit that ideal scenario of who you're looking to talk to. So for myself, like, I use Sales Navigator. It's the paid part of LinkedIn. What it does is it's a much more powerful, robust side of LinkedIn. I'm not on the take here from big LinkedIn, by the way. Just this is what we do. The search functionality, and you can create a lot of lead lists and stuff. So I could be like, I want to speak to, you know, senior leaders that have been in their role for 2+ years at organizations that are over 50+ people based in the sort of greater Melbourne area, in, you know, manufacturing or something, right? It'll come up with a list of whatever it is. Maybe it's 1,000 people, but they'll all have CEO, blah, 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 blah. And individually you can connect with every single one of them. And then off the back of that is sort of you bring them into your ecosystem. So we use kind of two prongs to that approach. One is the messaging and outreach side of it. And it's not, you know, everybody hears that bristles at like, oh, it's cold DMing people on LinkedIn. But it's really like, come at it from a place of value and start a conversation. Don't be like, hey, I'm Matt. Would you like a video? It's like, hey, great to connect with you. How's things at, you know, blah, blah, blah company. Cool. They don't respond. A couple of days later, hey, I just wanted to follow up. We do video for production in healthcare, for example. Is that on your radar? Do you guys have any sort of existing relationships with the provider? They might not answer. If they do, have a conversation. Don't be like, well, here's my show reel. What do you think? Can I send you a quote? It's like, What are your problems? What's your pain points? What's happening in your world right now? That's a numbers game. You're not going to have a lot of conversations with people. Like, not every connection is going to turn into a conversation that turns into work. So you really need to just play the volume game on that. But what that does is that the people connecting with you are also then connected with you and will see your stuff in the feed. So posting content or interacting with stuff on LinkedIn is going to bring you to the surface. So what I like to think of it as is it's the branding and the awareness piece of it. So even if we connect and you don't talk to me, you don't have any interest right now, what's to say in 6 to 12 months time, you have a video project come up, you want to be top of mind for that person because you've just been in their ecosystem providing really valuable insights into what you do, who you do it for, how you do it, the outcomes that it achieves, all of that sort of stuff. So when it comes to posting content, it should really come from a place of here's problem, solution, outcome, rather than here's our amazing show reel with clients. Like, because nobody cares. Like, you care. It's great looking stuff. That's awesome. But if I'm sitting there at a desk going, oh, we need more engagement with our, senior staff, or we need to whatever, build brand awareness for our new product launch or something. They're not sitting there going, wow, that show reel looks great, and connect the dots. It's like, how does what you do serve the outcome that they need? So posting content on that, whether it's behind the scenes images, sharing what it is, some just basic text, written posts, videos, obviously a big one where production companies and videographers, like making videos, a big one, and LinkedIn's pushing it a lot at the moment. But also, even if you're too sort of standoffish on producing your own stuff, just commenting on like-minded, relevant other posts brings you up in somebody else's feed. So you might be trying to, we'll just use healthcare as a good example, right? Connecting with healthcare decision makers. If you see a person pop up in your feed that's like, hey, we just, did this amazing new product launch, or blah, 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 so proud of the team working on this research thing. And you come and go, hey, that's amazing. Like, how are people hearing about it? Would love to see any videos or some stills of the event or something. Just something that connects it, isn't going, hey, this is cool. If you need a video, let me know. Like, all value, all conversation, all really positive conversation, moving it in a sort of business direction. Over time, you get known for that. And so many anecdotal conversations I've had where people go, Matt, you're just like Mr. LinkedIn. Like, I open it and you're just top of the thing every time. And it's because I'm constantly there posting stuff, responding to people, commenting on things, that you become this omnipresence there where, you're not selling somebody something constantly, but you'd be pretty sure that if somebody in my connection list needs a video, I'll pop into mine somewhere and they might go, yeah, we need Matt, we need Balloon Tree. Or they might be like, let's see some others, and I'm kind of part of that mix. But you're there, you're present, you're top of mind. So that's why I'm so bullish on LinkedIn, because you can talk directly to the people that make these decisions, but also just like subtly keep your head and name top of the list, that when the decision-making time comes, you're part of the mix there.
Yeah. And I've noticed on LinkedIn, like, you could go onto your feed and I'll see one of your posts and it's from 2 weeks ago. Yep. It's not even like, I actually saw one this morning. It was like 55 minutes ago.
Cucumber one?
Yeah. But like, the lifespan of some of these posts, like, they can be weeks. That's not really normal, is it, these days with other social media apps?
Yeah, well, I mean, like your Instagrams and TikToks, it's sort of like 3 to 4 days maybe, depending on what's going well. LinkedIn, and we're sort of in that weird bubble too of like the post-Christmas New Year time as well, where I think a lot of that stuff, I'm seeing a lot of older things kind of get retread, probably because users were off it, and so they're kind of going, oh, this was a bit more successful a couple of weeks ago, let's bring it back. But yeah, anything that's like popular or quote unquote viral gets a really long shelf life on LinkedIn. I mean, you can do all sorts of stuff like pinning posts to the top of your profile and things. You can even now like sponsor your own personal posts as an ad. So they call them thought leader ads and stuff, which helps build brand visibility and things like that too. There's even like the video side of it. I'm part of a little secret cabal on LinkedIn actually, where I got contacted by LinkedIn News Australia. They're like, here's a little form. If you make a video, just send it here, and if we like it, we'll like push it out. There was one video probably 2 or 3 months ago I posted. It's doing it right, a couple of thousand impressions and things, like good. Then overnight, 270,000 impressions, like it just skyrocketed. And the amount of like engagement on all of the other stuff that followed, because people are seeing it, looking at it, and then, interacting with it, just means that you're a presence in that person's life on LinkedIn. One of the other things that's sort of really helpful to think about when thinking about content on LinkedIn is the algorithm. It's mysterious, it moves in mysterious ways, but one of the big things it favors is screen time. So a lot of users on LinkedIn are lurkers and they don't comment, they don't like, they don't post, but they open it, they scroll and they close the app. What that means is that likes and comments and stuff are good and encourage, the platform to go, okay, this is positive and people are reacting to it. But it also weighs really heavily on how long something stays on somebody's screen. So video is great for that, particularly if it's got captions. It will stay on somebody's screen because they're watching a 30-second, 40-second video. You'll probably notice with any text posts, it's that sort of staggered one sentence, big line break, next sentence thing. It's not only easier to read and it kind of encourages you to keep reading, but it fills more time, it takes more screen space, and you hit that little see more button, that's like the indicator to LinkedIn too. So, it's not so much a hack, but it's like if you can create valuable content that people want to sit there and engage with, even if they don't like, comment, whatever, it's still going to be seen by people. And one of my favorite things to think about with this stuff is that consideration is quiet. And so often a lot of the new business I've gotten through LinkedIn and posting content has been somebody that messages going, hey, I've been seeing all your stuff. I love what you do. I want to talk to you about this project. And they've never once responded to, liked, commented on anything.
You didn't even know they existed.
Exactly. But they've been there, they're in the background, just absorbing, just taking it on. And they go, I love this. Like, I get it. I resonate with you. I understand you. This is what I need. So that's kind of the perfect scenario, is that you create content that resonates with people, that when the time is right for them, they can just come to you and go, hey, I want to work with you. All of that hard sell onboarding, getting them onto, your wavelength is done for you because of all of the legwork you've done through content.
And the actual content, so video-wise, that you're posting on LinkedIn, what have you found works the best right now?
Yeah, it's a mix of stuff. So we don't really share a lot of our work on LinkedIn because, again, it's not as relevant to people as the way we approach creating work or creating a concept or something like that. There is a tendency to overthink the production of it as production people. But honestly, shoot it on a phone and bang it out real quick is sometimes all you need to do. A lot of the stuff I've been posting at the moment is shot on my phone, and then we just run it through some caption software and stuff. Maybe we'll drop in a few little overlay shots here and there, but the stuff that feels authentic and off the cuff is the stuff that people are going to resonate with. If they feel like they're being sold to, or there's a production behind this thing for what's ostensibly a sort of shower thought, it doesn't necessarily jive with people the right way. So it's even as simple as faking to put your phone down on the stand and then go, hey guys, I'm talking to you, blah, blah, blah. That stuff it feels real. It's why the visual hook is such a big thing. And I don't know how much you use TikTok, but TikTok often is people pulling the camera up or sort of stepping into frame or moving a thing. It's just it just interrupts the pattern of things. So I think sometimes there's a place for higher production things on there, but the volume at which you need to produce stuff and the authenticity and kind of, I guess, simplicity at which people can actually engage with it, you don't need to match those two. You can just go on your phone, shoot 5-6 things in half an hour, and then just throw captions on it, away you go. And friction to then producing stuff, if that's the thing that's getting in your way, you're never going to do it. If it's okay, I got to set up my lights and do my camera and do my whatever.
It's got to look perfect as well.
It doesn't. And the beautiful thing is, I'm saying people see this, people don't necessarily comment and like on stuff, but also if it sucks, it's just going to disappear into the ether and never be talked of ever again. So don't let the idea of it being perfect stop you from just starting. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it's great advice. And as video production people, we think of posting videos first, but you did mention before just text posts. Mm-hmm. Have you seen much success with that?
Yeah, I think it's a combo of text and some sort of imagery. Usually a good photo with a really great bit of text is kind of the ideal sweet spot. I think as we're naturally visual people and visual industry, it's having some sort of visual stimulus to go along with what you're talking about makes sense, but it doesn't have to be a bespoke shot for that specific thing. It can be just a little phone selfie on set, or it can be a little, shot of your monitor from a shoot that matches what you're talking about, or whatever it is, right? I think, again, overcomplicating it and really kind of go, okay, I've got to shoot all this really specific stuff for this thing, it gets in the way of just posting the damn thing. Text is great because, again, it's a linger, read time on screen thing that LinkedIn really responds to. And that's where you can add a lot of context to stuff as well. So if you're posting a video, don't make the text be exactly what you say in the video. The two should work together so it encourages reading and watching. If it's an image, you don't need to describe what the image is, but what's the context behind it, or what's the scenario, or what's the sort of the insight into why that image is relevant to the thing. So they work together. Text is, it's great. It's where you can kind of create the nuance and the detail and things like that. But text by itself is probably, I wouldn't recommend it over having at least some sort of image or video to go along with it.
Yeah, you need to put emojis in there, and you also need to have a really good hook.
Yeah.
How do you come up with your hooks?
Do it after you've written the rest of the thing. So if you, let's just say, God, putting me on the spot here, but let's just say, we use the cucumber one as an example, right? So this morning I scheduled out a video. I'm in my garden, my veggie patch, and I have this abnormally large cucumber. And I'm like, this is a metaphor for video production or content marketing in general, where you sort of plant the seed, over time you till the soil, you keep adding to it, making sure it's looked after, and eventually you get this amazing harvest of a cucumber or a client. So that as like a visual hook is interesting. I'm in my garden, it's a weird angle, giant cucumber. The text side of it is there's sort of 2 lines before the break with the see more. So I think the hook was something along the lines of want to make your own abnormally large content cucumber. It's like on its own, that makes 0 sense to people, but intrigues them enough to be like, what is he on about? And then I think I followed up with like, here's what it taught me about B2B sales, which is, my style, Balloon Tree style is very, we love parody, we love genre, we love sort of goofing around a little bit. A trend on LinkedIn is like, that's one I saw going around a little while ago. It's like, my grandma just passed away. Here's what it taught me about B2B sales. And it's like, it's a joke unto itself inside the platform. So I think like my tone has already established itself as like a bit goofy and a little bit irreverent, not offensive, but just like playing within the format that everybody understands on LinkedIn. And so you can kind of lean into that. I'm like, haha, that is funny, but also seriously, and then sort of follow it on with actually, this is what it taught me about, interacting, growing a business, whatever. So I think as long as your hook invites more inquisitive people and creates intrigue, then if it bounces people and they go, what's this guy talking about in cucumbers? I don't want to be a part of it. It does exactly what I've been saying this whole time with like polarizing people, and they go, this seems odd, I don't want to engage with it. But for the people that kind of get on that wavelength and ride that wave with you and go, oh yeah, he's fun, he's quirky, he thinks about things a little differently, it's memorable in that sense. So when it comes to making a hook, it's like you want to intrigue people. Colin and Samir, big creator economy guys, talk a lot about creating open loops, and that's sort of what you want to do, where it's like you ask a question, you open a loop, and you want to close it with the rest of the copy or what the video follows up with, just to sort of satisfy that intrigue. You want to make sure that they get value off the back of it and answers that question at the start.
Yeah, great. So that's LinkedIn. Let's now move over to YouTube. Mm-hmm. What's your YouTube strategy?
Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel, which is my own name, personally branded, and I've been running it for just over 2 years now. And a big part of the reason behind it was, as a business, as Balloon Tree, we do a lot of creative projects and a lot of sort of fun, silly stuff. And LinkedIn's good to talk about it on there and talk about the value of those things, but it's also still, in a lot of ways, a cold audience that is a little bit more conservative. So we can lean into what is a bit more unique about us, but we can't go full-blown crazy, Back to the Future lovers over there. So the YouTube channel kind of got born as like the sort of deep rabbit hole version of like, if you like Matt and you like Balloon Tree and like what I'm up to, this is where all of our kind of kooky, crazy ideas live. And so it is business adjacent, but it's very much a like touch point on our approach and style. And we're never going to end a YouTube video by saying like, and if you want a video like this, call Balloon Tree. But it's very much reinforcing myself and the team and the way we approach projects. It's evolved over the years, but the last sort of 6 to 12 months, we've kind of turned the YouTube channel into 3 pillars. The first is like a behavioral psychology pillar, where we've looked at like, why do we never have enough time as a theory, right? And it kind of comes down to like productivity, time management, but also the perception of, what's important and things like that. There was one around, are you being manipulated? And the idea of like choice and decision and all of the content we consume is sort of leading us different ways. And so they're kind of attached to what we do as a business, but not, there's not a direct link from that to video production. The second pillar is creative exercises. So the simplest one is a $23 Amazon camera versus a $23,000 camera kit we had in the office, and what version of the project is better. And it's not about the gear; it's about the storytelling and the ideas behind it and all that sort of stuff. And then the last one's like a deep dive into something I'm weirdly passionate about. So I've mentioned I love Back to the Future. I like the idea of going, why Back to the Future should be remade. People that know me are like, why would Matt ever think that? And it's like, it's a fun, challenging idea. The other one that blew up was Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, which to this day I stand by is not a Christmas movie. And I also love the footy in the AFL. And so I kind of found this really unique angle into the AFL as just reality TV and team colours, and kind of explored the parallels between all of that. So if you take a step back from what we do at Balloon Tree and sort of, again, juxtaposing ideas and putting things together that you wouldn't necessarily think of in the first place in a creative way that's engaging and insightful, all of that's happening through the YouTube channel in a more subtle way to say, like, hey, these are the kind of ways we approach projects and how we do it. What it does from a marketing point of view is that I could then share either little shorts and clips on LinkedIn as a sort of teaser over to the YouTube channel. Sometimes I've posted full versions of it on LinkedIn just to see how that's gone.
How did it go?
Some of them went okay. Yeah, the more like behavioral psychology ones worked pretty well. Some of the I think there was I don't like scary movies video didn't do too well on LinkedIn because it's just audiences didn't quite make sense. But the other thing I'd do is I'd put it in my email signature every time we'd release a new episode. There'd be a little thumbnail and a link to it in my email signature. Now, the coolest thing about that is that we're obviously emailing existing clients, potentially new clients, whatever. The amount of conversations I've had off the back of that saying, hey, I just watched your YouTube video. I didn't know you were so into this, or I didn't know you guys could do that. I watched this, and then we have a conversation about it. Like, it just reinforces us as a brand, my approach, our sense of humor, our style. We're also, YouTube's an amazing algorithm in and of itself. We're then in a different part of somebody's life. So if they end up liking and subscribing and we show up there, it's then subtly reinforcing Balloon Tree and creativity without being like, I'm on LinkedIn, there's a clear message here, I'm in your email inbox or calling you. And so it's one of those things that, like, on paper becomes really hard to justify all this production into a YouTube video because there's not a direct, like, this closed this much business over here. But having done it for 2 years, and I was just telling you before about a client I've been speaking to or hadn't spoken to for about 3 years, we're now having a new conversation because they saw our little Christmas Carol parody at the end of last year. And it's like, wow, like, what a cool thing that this little ecosystem has just brought people back. The reason we started talking was because we were stylistically aligned. They moved in a different direction. Now they've come back because they've gone, this is the exact style we need. We need to talk to you guys. It's really cool to be able to, like I said at the very start of this episode, be the prize where people just go, I love what you're about. I want to work with you. So much of that hard work's just gone. You can get straight into the meat and potatoes, which is actually working together and making the thing.
So we've talked about all the different types of content that you're posting on LinkedIn and on YouTube and how that's all working together. For our audience that is listening right now and wants to start posting content on any social media platform, really, what would you recommend them do to start that process?
Yeah, I think really think about your audience. It's all well and good to make fun YouTube videos and post content on LinkedIn and all of that sort of stuff. But if you don't know who you're talking to, and I'm talking not just like, oh, it's marketing people. It's like, I'm talking to John, who is mid-30s. He's got 2 kids. Like, it's just all of the details, the pain points, what he's thinking about, his passions, his hobbies. Like, just know to a T who you're talking to. Means that all of that value that you're providing inside that content's really, really clear and targeted. Because I think, you can talk to everyone and you talk to no one. If you talk to one person or a perfect avatar of your ideal client, that will then resonate with, the right people and get across. So I mentioned in a previous episode, Danny Ginsberg, who's like one of the first guys who gave me a freelance gig and then has connected me with so many businesses we've worked with. He's our North Star for who we're talking to. He's a guy who's in leadership and development. He does a lot of sort of new and interesting initiatives inside the organizations he works with, but also loves 80s movies, loves Back to the Future, loves Indiana Jones, all those sorts of things that if I think about him and what would appeal to him and all of the challenges he needs to satisfy at work, but also just the personal things that he'd get really excited about, that just really refines my kind of pointy end of messaging, because I know he's given us millions of dollars of work over the 13 years or something. So if we can just replicate him a couple of times, like, amazing. So without that clarity, all of the direction of what you're creating is really difficult. So there's a starting point, really understand your audience, who you want to talk to, and then talk directly to them, because it's just going to mean that all of your stuff is incredibly valuable to that audience and they'll respond to it either positively or negatively, but you'll get an answer sooner rather than later.
Yeah. And would you recommend posting weekly, daily, multiple times a day?
Yeah, I think consistency is the big part of this here too. So weekly is great to start with, once a week, every Wednesday or something, but set it in your diary, set it in your calendar and just stick to it. Then once you've kind of hit the regularity and the cadence of that, bump it up to two a week, maybe 3, whatever it is. I think one of the shortcomings is going out the gate too hard, too fast and burning out. And so creating a piece of content every day, no weekends, like you just bang, 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 bang every single day, you run into burnout, idea fatigue really, really quickly. I know with like our YouTube channel, I started it wanting to do it weekly, which is insane looking back on it now. And we dropped it back to 1 every 2 weeks, and then it became once a month, and it became once every month and a half, 2 months. And it's at a regularity now where the ideas and the concepts are still strong each and every time, not to the detriment of my own sanity or the quality of the idea, because we're trying to produce too much. Same with LinkedIn. I think I post maybe 3-4 times a week, but we'll batch record videos. I'll sort of have an afternoon a week where I kind of go think about what are some of the challenges our clients are facing and go, cool, this is really topical and of the now because we're having these conversations. Record 1 or 2 videos, take a couple of photos, write some stuff out, schedule it out for the week or 2 ahead, and then just kind of let that be the rolling calendar on it. Because I think that, if we're not responding to the immediacy of our clients and potential clients' problems, you're potentially not talking to anybody in the future either, right? So sometimes like the TikTok ban was a big thing recently. That might impact a lot of people. And so if you can address that in a way that adds value to your audience in a timely manner, then it's only going to be better for you. Whereas if you talk about something that's no longer relevant, like, I don't know, Vine or something, it's not going to have as much staying power or value to that audience. So I think—
And you seem outdated as well.
Yeah. So I think as long as you can build in consistency and some level of repeatability to your process, once a week is perfectly fine, because you'd prefer to do once a week consistently than once a week, then a month goes by, then you do 6 posts, then you do, it's just the whole thing just kind of needs to keep moving, keep churning. Yeah.
Great. Well, Matt, thanks for joining us today and sharing your thoughts on creating content to attract the right clients.
No worries. Like and subscribe, everybody. Follow along.